Today we are talking about tip number 9. Am I doing that right? Yes, 9. Tip number 9 is talking about goals, and it's the timely part of your goals. Previously this week we've been breaking down your SMART goals. We did the specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and today it is timely. Now, I want to start with a quote from Stephen Covey, and I'm going to read this to you. If you don't set your goals based upon your mission statement, you may be climbing the ladder of success only to realize when you get to the top, you're on the wrong building. Stephen Covey. How appropriate is that? As we've been talking this week, we started out with knowing your objectives, and then we jumped into you need to define goals. You need to define goals so that you can bring your whole team together and they can work towards one thing. Goals put that North Star up there so you know where you want to head, what you want to accomplish. And so we've been talking about goals this week, and you have to break them up. So here we are with timely. First thing is, as you sit down and you think about what goals you want to achieve, you might put out a timeline. Okay, I want to achieve this in 6 months. Well, 6 months is a pretty long time, to go into work every day and to do little tasks. You may want to see some advancement towards these goals. See that you're really accomplishing something that's heading towards that goal. So you can start by setting up some short-term and then some long-term goals. Let's say your goal is in 6 months, you're going to increase your customer base by 10%. Well, then obviously 6 months, increase your customer base. You might want to set up some short-term goals about increasing the inbound that you get, people coming to your website, the people clicking on your email, the impressions you get on your banners. And then the second part could be how it's passed off to the sales team, and they're able to take it so that they increase your customer base. This is where you start to bring in the different departments so that they work together. That's when all the magic happens. That's why I say, talk to your whole group. Make sure the whole company and your department are all on the same page, that they all buy in that these are good goals, that they believe they are good goals, and that they can be accomplished. If part of your team is like, forget this, there is no way we're going to get that done, guess what? That's a cog in your wheel. That's not the kind of energy you want. You want that team that says, yeah, you know what? We can do this. Come on. And you want to have them almost be the cheerleader for each other to get it done. Set it up as a game. I once heard of a strategy, and this was in a manufacturing plant, and they were trying to get the different shifts to increase productivity. And so they set goals, but then they set the shifts against each other so that they could compete. And what they found is all of a sudden, they were all working together as a group so that they could win. Some of them were working through lunch. Some were working on a strategy that they could beat the other group. And what the company did was great. They had like a billboard or a scorecard up there so everyone could keep track of their progress, how they were doing. Were they reaching the other group? Were they going to be the winners that month? It's things like that. When you set up these goals and you make it into a competition, it starts to get all your employees on board. They all want to be part of this. Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to be part of a winning team? We all want to be part of a winning team. But that's why you have to set up timely goals. You've got to make sure that they can be attained in that period of time you got. So if I said, we're going to double our client base in 6 months, well, that's not realistic. The chances of you doubling your customer base in 6 months, unless you're a startup, maybe. But if you're an established company, that is not going to happen. And that's not a realistic goal. And you're not giving yourself enough time. You're setting yourself up for failure. So, timely can mean different things. One, you got to make sure that you can achieve that goal in the period of time you're giving. Now, as I mentioned, you always set goals so they're a little bit of a reach, which is great because that makes you achieve and get to that next level, but not so far of a reach that there's no possible way it's ever going to be achieved. So make sure you set it up in a timely frame. Also, depending on what your goals are, make sure that is the right time for your prospects or your customers. Is there something specific they need at a specific time of year? Now, recently, I was doing an industrial auction of wine manufacturing equipment. And as I was researching this industry, I found now is the perfect time for this auction because harvest is coming and the facilities have to make sure that they have the equipment in place to handle the harvest. So now was the perfect time to have this auction. I work with several industrial auction clients, and also now is the time to promote auctions because people can get the equipment into their facilities quickly. They don't have to deal with all the supply chain headaches. So they're able to get the equipment in and rev up their facility so that they can work as fast as possible. So there's certain things you got to take into consideration. And this all comes down to knowing and understanding your audience. That was back when I first started this. As you know, we're going through 20 tips in July, and it's all how to gain quality B2B marketing leads. And the first thing always is to know and understand that audience. You can't do anything if you don't know and understand your audience. You cannot even start to set up what your mission is or what your goals might be if you don't know and understand your audience. I can't stress that enough. And when I say know it and understand, I mean more than their title and their industry. You have to understand what makes them tick, what keeps them up at night. What are their goals? What is their next step? I do a lot of work in the food manufacturing industry. And right now, they've got a lot of contamination issues. They've got environmental packaging issues. There are a lot of things food manufacturers are dealing with. But then again, I say that, but really every industry right now is dealing with a lot of things. And marketing is a tough one. And people say, oh, well, we'll cut marketing for now because we need to concentrate on this. And I'd say, no, you know what? Let's all be smart. Let's have some cost-effective marketing strategies that will help keep your brand out there. You'll be sending messages directly to your audience. And you're going to see that they're going to pay attention to your messages and they're going to respond to them. So let's start. Start by putting together your SMART goals and see which of your SMART goals is really going to move your business needle. We all are here. We're here to grow our business, but you've got to do it in a way that is in a nice strategy so that everything you do builds off the last. We cannot be throwing things out here with hopes that it works. Those days are gone. So go through the tips I've done so far. We already have, today's 9. So look at the 8 before. Hit the subscribe button below if you're on YouTube and subscribe to the World Innovators YouTube channel. That way, when the next tip comes up, you're going to be the first to hear about it. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to email me at dpeterson@worldinnovators.com. or you can call me. I totally understand that everybody's offer is unique. Everybody's marketing must be handled in a different way because it has to have a different flavor or branding to it. So if you would like to call me, please feel free to call me at 860-210-8088. Talk to you later. And don't forget, tomorrow is tip number 10. I don't know what I'm going to do after tip number 10. I guess I'll have to start showing my toes or something. But tip number 10 is up for tomorrow. See you all then and have a great night.